You can draw this in Procreate. During this easy Procreate tutorial for beginners, you'll learn how to create this stunning sunset beach illustration. No worries, you don't need any experience because I will guide you through every single step. I'm sure you will feel proud once you have reached the end of this tutorial, and you should be. If you're sharing it and you're sharing it on Instagram, then don't forget to tag me in the image, not just in the description, because that way I will be able to find your work and then maybe we will see it in the next video. Just like these amazing looking results from my friends at Patreon. In case you don't know it already, that's the place you need to go if you want to learn even more about Procreate. I have more than 100 tutorials there, ranging from beginner levels to more advanced levels, but of course it's also a wonderful way to support this channel and to make sure that we can keep creating tutorials for you. But now let's get started with this tutorial. We're working on a canvas that is 2300 pixels by 3000 pixels, color profile set to sRGB, and I have linked the color palette that we'll use in the description. So if you are ready, let's get started. We'll start off by filling our background. Let's go to the color palette and grab this color over here, the first color in the first row, and just drag the circle onto your canvas. Then we'll make a new layer on top of this one. We'll tap the plus, and then for the color, we will grab this color over here, first color in the third row. And then for the brush, let's go to the calligraphy brushes and use the monoline brush. The brush needs to be at 100% opacity, and you can set the size to 30% for instance. And we are going to make a horizontal line. We're going to make a horizon line, and we'll start a bit below the halfway point. So about here, draw a line, then hold your pen in place to make it snap to the quick line, and then hold one finger on your screen to make sure that it's perfectly horizontal. And then you can drag this color underneath here. Now let's go back to our background layer. Layer 1, let's go there. Then let's make a new layer on top by tapping the plus. And then for our color, we will grab this one over here. Second color in the first row. We will stick with our monoline brush, and then we will draw a circle. Hold your pen in place again to make it snap to the quick shape, and tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle. Then drag in a color to fill your circle, and then go to the Move and Transform tool, that's the little arrow up here. Then over here under snapping, make sure that snapping is turned on, and then move your circle to the vertical center, and we can make it a little bit bigger actually by using these handles. Just make sure that this is set to uniform. Otherwise, you might turn your circle into an oval. So we'll go for something like this. Then we will tap the magic wand here and tap Gaussian blur. Then slide your finger or your pen to the right on the screen to create this gradient. Let's go for about 30%. Now we'll make a new layer on top of this one. So we'll go to the layer menu, tap the plus, and then for our color, we will grab this one over here. Third color in the first row. And we will make another circle. Let's draw a circle like this, hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle, and go for something like this. Drag in the color, then go to the Move and Transform tool, and make sure that it's nicely centered. Then we'll go to the magic wand again, tap Gaussian blur, and slide to the right just slightly. Let's go for about 4%. Then we'll go back to the layer menu, tap the N, and now you can adjust the opacity of this layer. We are going to turn it down to around 29%. Now let's make a new layer on top. Let's tap the plus, and then for the color, we will grab this one over here, fifth color in the first row, and I will draw another circle, but a small one this time. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, and make a circle like this. Then drag in the color, then go to the Move and Transform tool and make sure that it's nicely centered. Let's place it about here, maybe a little bit higher. About here. Then we'll go back to the layer menu, tap layer 4, then tap the plus. And now for our brush, we are going to the airbrushing brushes and use the soft brush. And for the color, we will start with this one. Fourth color in the first row. The opacity of this brush is at 70% and I have the size set to 12%. And now let's make rounded motions here around our sun. Make multiple strokes, creating that nice glow. Then we'll switch to this color, third color in the first row, and we'll add some brighter yellow just here in the center. Then we'll switch to this color over here, sixth color in the first row, and then we'll add a little bit of pink here at the bottom. Make a bit of an oval shape like this. Then go back to the magic wand and to Gaussian blur and slide to the right again. And let's go for something like this, 17%, and then tap the magic wand again. Now we'll go to this layer, the layer with our sun, and then we'll tap the plus, and now we are going to make some hilly layers, some hills, mountains, shapes like that. We'll stick with, no, we won't stick, we will go back to the calligraphy brushes, and in this case, let's use the script brush. The script brush also has a nice crisp outline, but if you press harder with your brush or with your pen, you will get a thicker line. But of course, that only works if you have a pen that has pressure sensitivity, like the Apple Pencil. And for the color, we will grab this one, first color in the second row. And the opacity of this brush is at 100%, and I have the size at 10%. And I will start about here. And we are going to make a wavy shape, a little bit wobbly. We'll go down here and then back up with a wavy shape and back down here, all the way from the left all the way to the right. These lines need to touch the sides of the canvas, and then you can drag in the color underneath. Then we'll make another layer on top of this. So we'll go to the layer menu, tap the plus, and then we'll switch to the next color, the second color in the second row. And then we'll make another shape like this, just a little bit lower. So we'll start here, make another wavy shape, go a bit up over here, and then up here all the way to the right, and then drag in the color. Next, let's add some clouds. Let's make a layer underneath these hill layers. So first we'll tap this one, then we'll tap the plus, and then for our color, let's grab this one. That's the seventh color in the first row. And then let's start here on the right side and make these semicircles, big ones and small ones, to make a simple cloud-like shape. And we'll go in front of our sun like this. Then we'll go upward a little bit over here, all the way to the right side. So right now these lines are touching the sides. They are all closed, so we can drag in the color. Next, let's lower the opacity of these clouds a little bit. Let's tap the N and set this to 65%. And then let's add some more color variety here. So let's tap this layer, then turn on alpha lock. So when we paint, our paint won't show up outside of our cloud shape. And then to add that color variety, let's go to the airbrushing brushes and use the soft brush again. Now for the color, let's grab this one, second color in the first row, and let's add some of this darker color, just a little bit on these sides. Make rounded shapes, rounded motions. I want this area to be nice and light. And let's also add this color over here. It's the 8th color in the first row. And let's add that to these edges here at the top. So we're creating a nice little gradient here. Some nice color variety. Maybe a little bit over here as well. And maybe we can make the lower area even lighter. Let's grab this color, 6th color in the first row, and go over this lower part just a little bit. And let's do that for our sun as well. Let's go to layer 5. Remember, first turn on alpha lock because we don't want our soft brush to paint over the other areas, just over our sun. And then let's add a little bit of that light pink to the bottom area to make it nice. Well, to make it fade nicely here. Then let's add some color variety to our hills. Let's start with this one. Again, turn on alpha lock. And then for the color, let's grab this one, the 7th color in the first row. And then add a little touch of pink right here near the horizon. Then we'll move to the other hill, layer 8. Tap the layer, turn on alpha lock. Then let's grab another pink. Let's grab this one, 2nd color in the first row. And let's go over the edges. You can paint outside of the hill to create a very soft edge, very soft light. All right, now for some more cloud effects, I'd like to go to this layer over here with that pink gradient. We're going to tap that layer and give it a mask. So tap mask. Now we have a layer mask attached here, and we can paint on this white layer mask with black to mask parts of this layer. Now to do that, we are going to grab the script brush again under calligraphy, and we will grab black. You can just double tap here to grab pure black. And then over here, let's create a cloud-like shape. You can't really see it on the left side, but I still made those shapes because I need a closed shape from the edge, then drag in the color. Now let's make some small ones over here with a straight underside, little one over here, drag in the color, and another one over here. Make it go all the way to the right, then back here, and drag in the color. Then over here, I want to add an extra effect. I want to grab white, so double tap here, and then we'll make another cloud-like shape over here, as if it's overlapping. Loop around to close it, and then drag in the color. And then we'll do something similar for this layer over here, layer 4. Let's tap it, add a layer mask, and then grab black, so double tap here. And then let's continue here and make a long cloud shape, loop around, and drag in the color. Now it's a little bit diagonal. Let's make it a bit more horizontal. Then over here as well, drag in the color, and perhaps a small one here. So if you have been a long-time follower of my You Can Draw This tutorials, then you will have noticed that there are so many different ways to draw clouds. So of course, here you can also apply techniques that you have learned in my other You Can Draw This tutorials. Now let's move forward and work on our water and our little islands. Let's go to layer 2 here. Let's tap it and turn on alpha lock. And then for our brush, let's go to the airbrushing brushes again and use the soft brush. And for the colors, let's first grab this one, 2nd color in the 3rd row, and let's add that to the underside here. I want a dark gradient here, so some dark blue here. Then let's also grab the 1st color in the 1st row for a nice purple touch. Let's add that to these corners and over here as well. Then let's grab this pink, 5th color in the 2nd row. Let's add that to the center area, like a cone shape. And then let's also add some yellow, 3rd color in the 1st row. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller, 7%, and add some yellow over here. And then let's go ahead and go to the magic wand, tap Gaussian blur, and slide to the right. Let's go for, I think this is perfect, 30%, and then tap the magic wand again. Now for our little islands, let's make a new layer on top of this one. Let's tap the plus. Then for our brush, let's go back to the calligraphy brushes and use the script brush. And for the color, we'll start with this one. That's the 3rd color in the 2nd row. And then we'll start over here. It's below the horizon, a little bit, well, to the right of our sun. We'll make a line going up, back down again, wobbly line. And then over here, we'll go up like this. And then for the underside, make a horizontal line. You might need to zoom in a little bit, make a pointy part here, and then drag in the color. So you have a nice little island. Now we'll do the same here on the left side. We'll start about here. We'll make a line up and up here. And then we'll go to the right to about here. Then we'll make the underside like this. And then you can drag in the color. And of course you can tweak the top part easily. You could go a little bit higher here. Just add stuff, or you can tap and hold the eraser to make your eraser switch to the script brush as well. And then you can carve this little island just the way you please. Now I'll drag in the color here to fill the entire thing. And let's make another layer on top of this. Let's tap the plus, and then let's switch the color to the fourth one in the second row. And I will make some more sand. We'll start here. Make a little bump. Then we'll go to the right to about here. Then we'll go back to the left. Then we'll make another bump here. But we'll go a little bit further to the right. Then back to the left. And then we'll make a bit of a hilly shape here. And then we'll drag in the color to fill these areas. And again, you can definitely tweak them, make this one a little bit longer perhaps, tweak this one, add a little extra part here. So you get something that looks like this. Now let's add some palm trees. Let me zoom out just a little bit and go back to layer 12. Just to be sure, I'm going to add a new layer on top of this. So if our trees need to be smaller or bigger or whatever, if we need to move them around, they will be on a separate layer, and that will make things easier. So let's tap the plus and let's go back to the third color in the second row. And now for our brush, let's go to the inking brushes and use the studio pen. Now for the size, I'd like to set it to 10%. I've actually saved it. And the opacity needs to be at 100% because we don't want transparent trees. Now over here, let's make a bit of a curved line, curving towards the sun like this. And it can be a little bit wobbly. That's totally fine. And then another one over here, curved towards the other side a bit. Then let's zoom in a little bit. We'll make these curved lines outward like a little umbrella. So something like this, and then for this one as well. You can see you have a little gap here, and then we'll make lines like this, small little curves along that line that we have created to create a nice stylized palm tree. Now, if you're having trouble creating this, then of course you can also use the palm tree stamp brushes that are in the free treasure chest brush pack. If you don't already have it, then you can just go to freefromflow.com to get it. It's totally free, and there are more than 70 brushes in there. And you'll also get my ebook about color theory. Got this one, just these curved lines, short little strokes with your brush, with your pen. And then for the other one, we'll do the same, these little curves all the way to the end. And then this one. until you have created all of these leaves. Finally, this one. And then the last one. And now let's also add a little light effect here. We can do that by turning on alpha lock on this layer. So we'll tap it and turn on alpha lock. And then we'll switch to this color, 7th color in the first row. And then we can go along the edge a little bit. And you can make that line a little bit wonky, a little bit wobbly, because that will give the suggestion that there's texture there, that it's not a super smooth tree trunk. So also add a little bit of light on the edges of these leaves. You don't have to add that to all of them, just a few, to nicely make them stand out here. Now we'll repeat this process on a new layer. So let's go to the layer menu, tap the plus, and then switch to the 4th color in the 2nd row. And then we'll make a bigger tree on this little hill here. So let's make a curved line upward here. Another one right next to it. And fill it in. So it's curved slightly towards our sun. And then let's add those curved lines. Like this. And then we can add those, well, the rest of the leaf detail again. Just a little bit bigger this time, since this tree is more in the foreground. It'll appear to be bigger. Well, it'll look bigger. Might not really be bigger, but that's what perspective does. Objects that are closer will appear bigger. So just make these lines follow that curve. And this one. We're not creating something super realistic here, so you can really keep it simple. Almost there. Maybe a few more here. And then let's add some light here as well. Let's go to the layer menu, tap this layer, turn on alpha lock, and then grab that pink again, that 7th color in the 1st row. And first, let's go along the trunk, add a bit of a wobbly line, and then let's also add a little bit of light on the side. We can also make a line like this. Thin little highlight line, a little bit over here. That nicely makes it pop. Now for our water, we need some more sparkle there, some more variation. It looks a little bit boring and flat right now. First, let's go to this layer, layer 2, and then for our brush, we will go to the luminance brushes and use the light pen. And for the color, we will grab this one over here, 2nd color in the 1st row. The opacity is at 100%, and let's set the size to 13%. And now we'll go along the undersides here. I'm going to rotate my canvas a little bit to make it a bit easier, to make a light line right underneath. And we'll do that for all of these areas. To add a nice little glow just underneath. Only the underside. So don't go here along the top side. That wouldn't look natural, just the underside. Now for some more light on the water, let's go and make a new layer on top of this. Let's tap the plus. And for our brush, let's go to the airbrushing brushes and use the medium brush For the color, let's grab this one. Let's grab that first, third color in the first row. Let's set the opacity to 100% and the size to 3%. And let's just add a few dabs of color. And let's also grab this pink, fifth color in the second row for some pink touches over here. And also some purple. I'd like some purple. This color over here, first color in the first row. Just a few, maybe over here. And then let's go to the magic wand, then to motion blur. And then we need to slide to the right horizontally to make this blur. If you move it around, it'll blur vertically or diagonally. We want it to blur horizontally like this. Then let's go and tap the magic wand again and again to also add a Gaussian blur. Slide to the right, make it look nice and soft. And then let's make another layer on top of this one. If you're happy with these layers, by the way, you can just pinch them together because we won't be working on these anymore. Let's tap the plus. That can be handy if you want to save layers. For this layer, we are going to set this layer to another layer blending mode. We'll tap the N and set this layer to add, which is great for light effects. And I want all my lines to be horizontal. So we'll go to the wrench, then to canvas, then turn on the drawing guide and go to edit drawing guide. Then here at the bottom, turn on assisted drawing. Then at the top, tap done. And now to get rid of these lines, we can simply go back to the wrench and turn the drawing guide off. When you go to your layer menu, you will see that this layer is assisted. And right now we can only make lines that follow that grid. So our lines will either be vertical or horizontal. And for the color, we will grab this one over here, third color in the first row. And then for our brush, let's go back to the calligraphy brushes and use the script brush. And then let's just make some small little lines and little dots. We're going to blur them later. So over here, we can also grab the pink. Let's grab this one over here. That's the seventh color in the first row. For some pink light as well. And maybe back to the yellow, third color in the first row. For a few over here as well. And now let's blur this. Let's go to the magic wand and go to motion blur again and slide to the right. Make sure these are horizontal like this. And now let's tap the brush and just go over here and add a few more that are a little bit more crisp. And I'm varying the pressure. So some parts of the line will be a bit thicker and some will be thinner. Also add a few here. Maybe a few here. Now I can definitely blur them a little bit more. We can go to the magic wand and use Gaussian blur and slide to the right just slightly. Let's go for something like this, 3%. Then we'll stick with this layer, but we are going to turn off drawing assist. We don't need that anymore. So tap the layer, turn off drawing assist. And then for our brush, we will go to the luminance brushes again and use the flare brush. We'll stick to this color, but we'll make the brush smaller. Let's go for something like 6% maybe. Opacity is at 100%. And now let's add a few sparkles. Right where we see those glittering light stripes. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller for some in the background. 3%. And let's add a few here. You don't have to add too much, a few is enough. And there you have it. You have created a flotastic sunset beach. I hope you have enjoyed following this tutorial. If you did, then you might want to turn it into a streak and follow this tutorial next. In this one, you will learn more advanced techniques creating landscapes in Procreate. I would like to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time for the next tutorial.